everybody, it's Emily at Arg Schooling, and it is time for yet another book haul. Once again, it got a little out of hand. I don't think I intended to buy this many books over the last couple of months, but here we are. It happened. I did it. So we're going to go ahead and start chatting about the things I bought. I've categorized. I have 4 piles so that it's somewhat organized. So why don't we begin with middle grade? I got a box in the mail yesterday from HarperCollins. So thank you very much to HarperCollins. I have this box of books that they sent me for review, and these are all new releases, and they're all queer for Pride Month. This was like the Pride Month box, so I was really excited to get these. So let's just run through them quick. So I have Lunar Boy by Jess and Sin Weibo, and this is a graphic novel. I'm planning on reading this today, actually. So I have no idea what this is, but it's about a boy. It says he's from the moon and he feels like he doesn't belong anywhere. So it looks really cute. I'm excited to read this, and then I will let you guys know more about what it is. I have The Strange Wonders of Roots by Evan Griffith. I am obsessed with this book cover. I was looking at this last night because I just think this cover is so pretty. This one is a like environmentalist kind of story. So if you liked Wild Oak and Willowdean, I think you would probably want to read this. This one is about a 12-year-old girl named Holly, and she lives in Vermont, and I think there's like some kind of something to do with cutting down a forest or tearing down a grove of rare trees in the heart of town, and Holly wants to stand up and fight for the trees. So I'm really excited to read this. It could potentially even be a lit bite, because I feel like there's a lot in here to kind of take further. It feels like it would make a good lip bite, so there's potential for that. Also, this cover is also stunning. Like, I don't know, the lighting in here isn't great, but isn't that pretty? This is Murray Out of Water by Taylor Tracy, and I do not know what this is. 12-year-old Murray O'Shea loves the ocean. It could be because it never asks her to be someone she's not, something her mother refuses to do, but Murray also shares a secret magic with her beloved sea, which allows her to control its tides, hear the gorgeous sounds of all its creatures, and feel as powerful as she wishes she could feel in her regular life. And I guess there's going to be a hurricane that hits, and it changes things, and it sounds like it's going to be beautiful, and I really want to read it. It also just feels like a good summer book, being that it's about the ocean. Then we have Noah Fry Gets Crushed by Maggie Horn. I don't know what this is at all. Noah Fry just had the best summer ever. Not only did she have an epic time at science camp, but her new camp friend Jessa is going to Noah's school in the fall. Noah can't wait to introduce Jessa to her best friends Zoe and Luna when classes start, but when the friend group is reunited after their summer apart, something seems to have changed. Zoe and Luna have discovered boys, and now it's all they want to obsess over. So Noah feels like the odd one out in their friend group because Noah's never even thought about boys. So it just sounds like it's going to be a cute contemporary story. And then this one I'm really looking forward to. This one is The Truth About Triangles by Michael Laley. I read their book a couple of years ago when it came out, The Civil War of Amos Abernathy, and I really liked that. So I'm curious to see what this one is. It says 12-year-old Luca Salvatore is always running interference in arguments between his younger twin siblings, in his parents' troubled marriage, and between Will, the cute new boy in town, and Luca's best friend June, who just can't seem to get along. When the host of his favorite culinary TV show announces an open call for submissions for its final season, Luca is sure that getting his family's failing pizzeria on the show will save the restaurant and keep his family from completely falling apart. Surprisingly, securing a spot is easier than kneading dough, but when the plan to fix everything comes out burnt, Luca is left scrambling to figure out just the right recipe to bring his family and his friends back together. So this sounds like it's going to be really good. I'm hoping to pick this up soon. Moving on, we're going to talk about things that I just bought because I wanted them. These are like books that I pre-ordered or purchased because I really want to read them, starting off with Future Home of the Living God by Louise Erdrich. I've still yet to read any of her adult books. I've only read The Birchbark House by Louise Erdrich, which honestly is a crime. I don't know why. I own several of her books and I keep buying them, so I need to prioritize. But this one I bought because it sounds really good. This is like a apocalyptic kind of a story, and it has to do with reproductive rights, I think. I don't know a lot more than that, but like, what more do I need to know? So, looking forward to that. I have The Sins on Their Bones by Laura R. Samatin, which is one of my favorite book covers of the year. Like, I don't know, the lighting in here is terrible, but do you see how gorgeous this is? It's stunning. And I just saw Owl Crate has their edition, and I almost cried. I want that, so I can't justify it, but it's gorgeous. And so this, I don't even know 100% what this is about. I just think it's beautiful. This, I know, is a very Jewish story. It's Russian. It's based on Jewish folklore, inspired reimagining of 19th century Eastern Europe. This queer dark fantasy debut pits two estranged husbands and a daring spy master on opposite sides of a civil war. Perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo, C.S. Packet, and Catherine Arden. So I don't need more information than that, really. This cover, plus it's like a Jewish folklore, Eastern Europe reimagining. Yes. I have Death's Country by R.M. Romero, and this is a novel in verse, and it is like a Orpheus and Eurydice kind of a story, I think. A queer Orpheus and Eurydice retelling in which two Miami teens travel to the underworld to retrieve their girlfriend's soul. Yes, I've been dying for somebody to write a book that feels like Hadestown. Like, I need that. And I've not found what I'm looking for yet, but maybe. I have Codename Kingfisher by Liz Kessler. This could have gone in my middle grade pile, but I kept it here because it is a pre-order. This is the same author as When the World Was Ours, which was my absolute favorite book a few years ago. So I've been really interested to see what they came out with next. And so this is also World War II. And this is a story about like resistance and like spies and that kind of stuff. And like, I'm very curious to see what she does with that. I have The Year of Living Constitutionally, One Man's Humble Quest to Follow the Constitution's Original Meaning by A.J. Jacobs. I am so excited to read this. I read his other book, The Year of Living Biblically, a few years ago, and it was so fun and ridiculous, but also really insightful. And I'm really interested. I think I also read his one where he read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica. So I'm really interested to see what he does here. My daughter and I have been reading slowly the Constitution and discussing it all year, and we might read this together. I might do a little pre-read first just to see if I think it's something she would like. But I'm super interested to see what he does with this. But I think he's gonna go through like bit by bit and like just follow it out and live the Constitution. So I'm really curious to see how that goes. I have The Goddess of Warsaw by Lisa Barr. This was one of my most anticipated books of the year. I'm super excited to pick this up. This is a story about a woman who survives the Holocaust, and I think she's like in Hollywood, and some secrets are going to come out Yeah, it says, before she was a living legend, Lena Browning was Bina Blonsky, a wealthy Polish Jew whose life and prominent family were destroyed by the Nazis, who imprisoned them in a ghastly ghetto with the rest of Warsaw's Jews. I think it's to do with the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, and I'm always looking for things like that, so I'm really excited to read this. I have the new Menopause by Mary Claire Haver. I've already read this. Highly recommend it. If you are in your 30s and 40s, you want to read this. It's very educational. I know most of us didn't really learn anything growing up about menopause besides that you go through the change and like you might get some hot flashes and then your period stuff. That's all I knew. But there's a lot more to it than that. And maybe you are noticing your body falling apart like rapidly and you're wondering what that is. This book will explain a lot to you. It did to me, and I've been making like a lot of notes about like what I want to go talk to my doctor about now that I feel like I'm better educated on perimenopause and like what that is and how it is affecting me and what I need to do going forward. So definitely want to recommend that. I have the St. Ambrose School for Girls by Jessica Ward. This was like an impulse purchase when we stopped in at a local bookstore that they had this on their like discounted table. And I just, you know, it sounded like a thing I might like. This is like dark academia. Says Heathers meets the secret history in this thrilling coming-of-age novel set in a boarding school where the secrets are devastating and deadly. This is a genre I've been wanting to read more of. Like my favorite thing I've read in this genre is Babel. Like I don't know that anything will top Babel, but I'm willing to explore and see what else is out there. So recommend me all your best like dark academia books. I picked up The River Has Teeth by Erica Waters. This was one of the books that was recommended to me from like 12 friends' recommendations, and I saw it was on sale, so I grabbed a copy. I don't actually know what it is though. I think it's YA, and I think it's like a thriller. That's all I know. But I really like this cover a lot. Like it's very pretty, very like eerie looking. I love the owl at the top. Not a big fan of the moth. Fun fact about me, I am terrified of moths. Then I have Heart Still Beating by Brooke Archer. I think I bought this because when I was in my reading slump, it was somebody recommended this to me. I think it's YA. I think it's like a YA thriller. And I just randomly bought it on a whim to see if this would be a thing that works for me. Those are all the things that I bought for myself for fun. My next stack is horror. So these are all the horror things I got this month. I'm going to start with the Nightworms. I have what is this, May and June? Yes. So I have the May and June Nightworms to talk about. I don't know which is which. Does it tell me on here? Yes. Okay. So in May, my Nightworms theme was Burier Secrets. And if you don't know what Nightworms is, it is a subscription pack that you can get where you get 2 horror novels every month, and they're curated by Sadie Hartman and Ashley Sawyer, who are awesome. They are like my horror gurus. They know so much more than I do, and I love this because they send me things that I would never have discovered on my own. The May theme was Burier Secrets, and the books they sent were The Day of the Door by Laurel Hightower, and it has a signed book plate. And I don't actually know what this one is, but I think it has to do with like siblings who are who dealt with a tragedy in the past, and now they're coming together to try to understand what happened to them. And then Indian Burial Ground by Nick Medina is a book I'd been hearing about quite a bit actually, so I was excited when it was in my Nightworms. This is an indigenous horror story. It says, a man lunges in front of a car. An elderly woman silently drowns herself. A corpse sits up in its coffin and speaks. On this reservation, not all is what it seems in this new spine-chilling mythological horror from the author of Sisters of a Lost Nation. So it sounds great. I love mythology stories, so mythological horror sounds like very much my vibe. And then the June Nightworms theme was Family Tree. And we got The Red Grove by Tessa Fontaine, which, again, I don't know what this is. What kind of world might we have? Who might we become if everyone were truly safe? What price would we pay for that kind of freedom? Okay, well, that is an interesting tagline. I think this has to do with a community where everything is ordained to be safe. That's giving me the Giver vibes, but make it horror. And then Woodworm by Layla Martinez. I don't know if I can do this justice here, but it's very pretty. But also, this is like one of those hardcover books that do not have a dust jacket, and I love that. This is like a haunted house book. It says, the house breathes, the house holds bodies and secrets. The house is visited by ghosts, by angels that line the roof like insects, and by saints that burn the bedsheets with their halos. So I think this is sort of like a haunted house story. I have a new Josh Malerman, well, new to me, Josh Malerman book. This is Goblin, a novel in 6 novellas. I spotted this at our town like recycling center. People just like leave things there. So there's a lot of books that get left, and this was there. So I had to have it. I'm still hoping to find another Josh Malerman that I liked as much as Bird Box. Hasn't happened yet. I've read a couple of his books. They just didn't work for me. So I'm hoping maybe this will. I don't even know what this is. I think it has to do with a small town and like the people in the town. I have the newest Stephen King, You Like It Darker. This is another collection of short stories, and I really want to get to this soon because that's usually like some of my favorite short stories are Stephen King's, and I do love some good like horror short stories. It's some of my favorite horror, honestly, because I love how like weird they can get. Short stories, you don't need to explain everything, so like it's even weirder. Then we went to our local bookstore, Gibson's. They had an event where they had several horror authors. They had Paul Tremblay, Eric LaRocca, and John Durgan were all there doing a panel, and then they did a signing. And I was 100% there for Paul Tremblay because I've been wanting to meet him for ages, but also I love Eric LaRocca's books, so I was equally excited to see him. And I'd never heard of John Durgan, so I was like, ooh, maybe I'll find a new favorite author. So, of course, I wanted to get things signed. I already had my copy of Horror Movie that I pre-ordered by Paul Tremblay, so I got the first edition with the sprayed edges. Very pleased with that. And I'm so excited to read this. Like, I want to read this immediately. I've been dying to pick it up. This is a book about, like, a cursed horror movie that was filmed in the 90s, but then it never actually got like fully made. Like no one ever saw it except for like one clip of it, I think. And then we're following an actor from the movie or from the production of that movie who is like going back and talking about what happened. Maybe they're making a documentary. I might be making that up. But like, this sounds great. I love horror movies. It's 90s nostalgia, I think, some of it. And like, I just think it's going to be great. I've heard so many people raving about this book. I love his books. So I'm expecting this to be a 5-star. And of course, I got it signed. Let me show you. Boom. Signed book by Paul Tremblay. Finally, I've been wanting to get something signed by him for ages. So it finally happened. I Can Die Happy. Then I got 2 Eric LaRocca books. Because, of course I did. So I bought this because the cover on this one is my favorite thing I've ever seen. Like, it's beautiful and so weird. It's called They Were Here Before Us, a novella in pieces. And the back says the only thing more brutal than nature is love. And also the back is equally disturbing. This one I didn't get signed, but I just want to show you that it is illustrated. Like, there are pictures in this book, and it is stunning. Like, this is beautiful, and I'm so glad that because I'd never heard of this one. And whoop, everything's falling out. I saved my receipt. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Then I got his newest book. This is This Skin Was Once Mine and Other Disturbances. And this one I did get signed. You can see. I love that he wrote, "This skin could be yours too." Like, sure. It sounds really morbid and weird. This is short stories. He specifically mentioned this last story called Prickle. And he said, this whole book is like about trauma. But he specifically said, like, his mother, who was also there in the audience, his mother reads his stuff, and when he gave her this specific story to read, her response was, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" So I need to know. I need to know what's wrong. And then I have John Durgan's book. This is called Kosa. And this is a new to me author. He's an indie horror author who lives in New Hampshire. And he said this book was inspired by watching Tangled with his younger children. He has like small kids, and they were watching Tangled during the pandemic, and he started thinking like, hey, this is actually like a horror movie. It's an abduction story. And this is the book that spawned from that thought process. And so you had me at Tangled via like making it a horror movie. So I don't really know more than that. But this is also signed, you can see. And it says, "Mother Knows Best." So I'm looking forward to reading that. I have one final stack of things to talk about. These are like books that I bought for homeschooling. So the first one I have is called The Elements of Eloquence. This is by Mark Forsyth, and I actually bought this originally for level 11. I didn't really feel like it needed one more thing, so it didn't go in level 11. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know if I'm going to use this for my daughter. I don't know if this is going to end up in level 12, perhaps. As from classic poetry to pop lyrics, from Charles Dickens to Dolly Parton, even from Jesus to James Bond, Mark Forsyth explains the secrets that make a phrase, such as "Oh Captain, my Captain," or "To be or not to be," memorable. So it sounds like a really interesting book about writing and like how you can make your writing sparkle as much as like any other amazing author has. So it just sounded like a really interesting book. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I have it. Then also an impulse purchase when we were at a bookstore. I grabbed this book, Big Lies, From Socrates to Social Media by Mark Kurlansky. I've enjoyed other works by Mark Kurlansky. This is a subject that I want to explore more with my daughter. We've been reading a book similar to this year, talking about like how to spot fake news. And this is a similar topic. It says, in this noteworthy guide to media literacy, Kurlansky breaks down the big lies that permeate global history and explores how they affect the current U.S. media landscape. So, I just thought this would be nice to have on hand. This little stack I have here, these are things that I bought for our new school year. I don't really want to delve too deeply. I'm going to do a whole video. But I saw this book and I immediately started brainstorming. I don't know about anyone else, but I am raising a morbid child. And so I wanted to, you know what, we homeschool. We have the freedom to do things a little differently. So I wanted to feed into her little morbid heart. And so when I saw this book, Cannibalism, A Perfectly Natural History by Bill Shute, I was like, huh, What if we did something with that? So I bought this, and then my wheels started turning, and I bought some other things. So I bought How to Survive History, How to Outrun a Tyrannosaurus, Escape Pompeii, Get Off the Titanic, and Survive the Rest of History's Deadliest Catastrophes by Cody Cassidy. And that it's exactly what it says it is. It tackles a variety of like catastrophes and talks about like how would you survive that. I bought Patient Zero, A Curious History of the World's Worst Diseases. This is by Lydia Kang, MD, and Nate Pedersen, and these people are also the authors of Quackery, which is another book I already own, which is about like exactly what it sounds like, quackery. It's like about medicines and things that people used to try to convince you were real, like taking radium, for instance, to heal you. So this book sounded great. It is gorgeous. It's illustrated, there's pictures, it just sounds really interesting. And we're going to talk about like diseases, which led me to this book, Dark Banquet, Blood and the Curious Lives of Blood-Feeding Creatures, also by Bill Shute. So it's the same author of Cannibalism. So this one is like bats and leeches and things like that. We're going to be doing biology this year, so that felt like it was a natural lead into that. And then we also have Dr. Mutters Marvels by Kristen O'Keefe Aptowitz. And I honestly, this is almost a cover buy, because can you see how beautiful and like gothic this is? This one is America in the early 1800s was an easy place to die, especially for those unlucky souls so severely deformed that medicine at the time literally classified them as monsters. Enter Thomas Dent Mutter, a brilliant and audacious young mid-19th century plastic surgeon who revolutionized American medicine with his daring surgical work, pioneering the use of anesthesia, championing the sterilization of surgical tools, and advocating for a compassion-based vision for helping even the most seemingly hopeless of patients, despite intense resistance from his numerous rivals. With Dr. Mutters Marvel's author Kristen O'Keefe Aptowitz gives us both a front row seat to the good, the bad, and the grotesque of the evolution of American medicine, and a riveting biography of a man so flamboyant in life and in the operating theater that he would have been crowned the P.T. Barnum of the surgery room. Yes, I am obsessed a little bit with early, like, modern, like, the beginnings of modern medicine with, like, 1800s, like, surgeries, and, like, it's gross and weird, and I'm always interested in that, so. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, I already own several things that I was like, these would all fit this topic too. So I have a whole big stack of like weird stuff that we're going to be reading this year in our morbid history. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. I'm going to have a video about it coming up in the like later this summer, so I could talk more about like what other books I've added here, because I'm not done buying things, of course, because you know, I have a whole bunch more stuff on my list that I want to get. Will we get to all of it? I don't know. But like I have thoughts. I have plans. I'm excited. So that's it. Those are the books that I got the last 2 months. There's like 32 of them. And I'm excited to read the things. I have so many things to read. I'm not even going to try to stack anymore because I'm getting nervous that they're going to start collapsing on me. But like, this is just a bit of the things. Like, I'm scared. That's very heavy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you got some fun books for yourself the last little bit. Let me know down below what is a new book that you've got that you're really excited to read. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye!